Oh, that's the Pokemon movie. That's weird. That's the Pokemon movie 2000.
The most emotional movie of all time.
Oh no, I'm talking about the sequel to that one.
Oh.
With the birds.
I know the bird.
It was like, this is ancient memories being unlocked. There's like a song. Yeah. Wow. Haven't thought about that movie in like 20 years. And now it's suddenly.
I've thought about the other one a lot.
Well, that one, you can't forget that one. Pikachu slap. Mewtwo.
Yeah. Pika.
They were like crying, the tears bringing back from the dead.
Man. That hit
back
hard.
when movies were allowed to be movies.
Yeah. Back before like the liberal agenda was like pushed on every movie.
Yeah, Mewtwo's were allowed to be Mewtwo.
Yeah, Pikachu could actually like just be Pikachu.
He could cry and slap.
Yeah.
We need to return to that.
His clone.
Well, brother, good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Brocast episode 7. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a... That's us.
Wow, are we in a 7-4 time signature?
Bungee number 7, baby. Huh? Remember?
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
I'm your host, Alex, joined by Jim.
Yeah.
Where we talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I got heaps, actually, I want to talk to you about that I've been saving from this past week. Uh-oh. But before we get too deep into that, let me shout out the Jar Media patrons that make the audio version and the show just in general possible. You get the audio version, you get your names read out if you're a Dibby tier or above each and every week. Each month in the first or second week. Tripping over myself over here. Last week I mentioned this Jar Media group chat feature that's if you're a patron you can get involved in, you can have a little look at. Checked in, I've been checking in periodically. Extremely chill, I'm not seeing anything suspicious, which is very good. So like a few hours, this morning, I was like, I'm going to record later. Is there anything I need to remember from the last week that would be funny to bring up or whatever? And there was some good suggestions. So this is quite a handy tool, actually. Because this is one thing about the Jarlings, right? It's like, I've always had a bad memory, right? But going on, the more things I consume, the older I get, it's getting worse. So now we're at a point where there are people that know things I've said better than me in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, well, actually, in episode 180, you said...
Yeah. You don't believe this. You believe this. Because of this.
There's one instance of it being recorded 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I guess I have to go back on that.
Yeah. So, let's just go straight into housekeeping, because we got some good conversations from that last week. We got to round off, and it ain't to do with my toesy woesies. I don't like showing them anymore, if I'm being real. People get a bit funny, a bit weird, but like, I'm a warm guy. I have a bit of a reputation in some families as the shorts guy. Mr. Shorts over here. And I used to fight that, but now it's been pointed out to me that whenever I get slightly warm, I start turning the clothes I'm wearing into shorts, even if they're not shorts, right? So for example, get a little bit too hot. Instead of putting shorts on, I just pull the other things up.
Develop shorts.
It's like, hybrid shorts.
It's your like evolution. Nice.
So let's round out some of those conversations from that previous episode. Cream Jerry Cream can get us started here. Bears. We are the Patreons over at Patreon, not patrons over at Patreon. My bad. And speaking of the Jar group chat, I had two things in here that they wanted to relay to you specifically. Gabby said, "Tell Jim on the pod I love him and everything." No, I love him with everything I have. I messed that up.
Well, how much do you have?
Well, that's a good question.
Because it better be a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Damn straight. And Timothy Mark, aka Bidiot Bales, says, "Please ask Jim if if you'd still smoke a cigarette if they wriggled around like worms. Definitely worth considering now, because who knows what the future may bring. Wormerette?
Excellent point.
Would you like that, or would that put you off?
I think if they... Well, I'm assuming the end is still hot, so if they're mega wriggling, that's like burn central. You know?
I'm picturing like they're wriggling, they're active like crazy until you light them where they chill out. They're still wriggling a little bit, but not like danger wriggle, you know?
Okay. More of a writhing.
Writhing into calmness. Yeah. Or maybe, you know, like the stereotypical like French lady with the, I don't even know what you call them, to like extend your cigarette so it's like miles away. Yeah, if like you put the worm in one of those, worm in the filter, so then it's wriggling, you're not going to get burnt. Maybe that's like just what smoking would be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people have been addicted to weirder stuff, so...
Yeah. I mean, if someone discovered, like, a psychoactive worm or something...
I'm sure they exist. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
All the things that we derive these substances from are, like...
Worms.
Mushrooms, plants, tobacco leaves...
Tequila worms.
I feel like there is a worm that like does something like that. A psychoactive worm.
Frogs.
Maybe I'm just getting Dune mixed up. Yeah, frogs. Yeah, you can get
Homer licked the frog.
Yeah. You ever seen that guy who he's got like a TikTok and a YouTube shorts thing where he like just runs around the Everglades going yoink and just picking up the most dangerous stuff you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yoink.
I saw one where he was holding a poison dart frog and it's like, and he's holding it, and then in the same clip, he's like, "Don't pick these up."
Yeah,
they're insanely poisonous.
How? Yeah, I thought it was like you touch it, it's gonna kill you.
I guess maybe it's like a stress response. They release a toxin into. I don't know if it's just always present on their skin, or if you.
Is it only if you lick your hand afterwards?
Or if like you have to like lick the frog? Like there's that whole Simpsons episode where they were getting high off the frogs.
Yeah. Where Homer does. Because he's like depressed in Africa.
That was probably one of my first introductions to like the concept of like that sort of thing.
Drugs.
Yeah, but like even then, I didn't even make the connection that's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it was just like as a kid, like it was just funny because he's like licking a frog.
And his pupils go massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There must be so many of those Simpsons gags that just went like straight over.
Yeah.
The head, yeah. As a kiddie. Here's 147 says, the fact that no one noticed one of Jim's balls hanging out for around 10 minutes in the middle is insane.
Yeah, at the bottom of my jeans.
I think you were actually wearing shorts, weren't you?
Was I?
Last episode.
They
said it for a reason.
I read this comment and I looked at myself and I was like, I'm wearing jeans.
Well, maybe, yeah. Well, I mean, it was you, so I'm not going to push back too hard on that one. But
you were wearing shorts.
Last episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Shorts guy after all.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't.
Okay. It must have been a reference to that time I did wear shorts, and the commenter actually like made me scared because I was like, "There's no."
Well, yeah. Because at first I was like, "What if a ball did?"
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that.
I had the same thought, but then I remembered. Wait, I edited this whole thing. I would have seen.
Yeah.
That's the exact kind of thing I'm looking for when I'm editing it. Like,
yeah.
That would be a crazy thing to slip past the goalie. Know what I'm saying?
I feel like it's possible. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You can never be certain.
I'll tell you what's possible though. It's getting trolled, getting played with by the community. Do you remember last episode there was a question that was like, if you had to choose between gaming and something.
Yeah.
Bacon, that was it. And it was just like absurd, and I somehow didn't twig it, even though I screenshot it and like brought it up. Like couldn't even read it properly when I was reading it. But the joke's on us apparently. JKG Tube said, Chuckle Sandwich's question for their guests on their podcast worded deliberately like that as a joke to get the reaction exactly like you guys gave. So I think this is Jay Schlatt's podcast or something. They have this as like a recurring gag, which is a funny idea. But I just never heard of this. I'm no good with like references or memes or any of this stuff. Like I don't know. I need help.
Like you said, we're getting old. As everyone in the comments keeps reminding us.
Everyone in the comments, every time I look at my ID and see what number I'm at now. You know what I'm saying?
Every time I look in the mirror and see another crevice of a wrinkle that's formed.
I feel like I need more crevices. I feel like that's one of my biggest problems, actually. Everyone says I've got like a baby face. That like, you're really that age? I've got that like so much. Which, I don't know. Does that... I feel like maybe that would be more valuable if I was a lady. I don't know if it really has the same thing for a dude. Is that... It's like, what is good about that? We don't have the same pressure of like getting old, like...
Yeah.
Do people care in the same? I don't think so. Different pressures.
I mean, you don't want to be old, but you want to be seen as an adult. You know? When I get ID'd for like a monster. You know? It's like...
Yeah.
Doesn't make you feel good. You know? It's like...
it's like an inconvenience.
Do you think I'm a little baby?
Well, am I a baby to you?
Yeah.
My little Red Bull drinking baby to you?
Yeah, that's the implication. You think I'm...
Take it personal.
You think I don't know how to give myself paracetamol?
The Enigma 2897 says, meteorite crashes into the Earth. Total annihilation imminent. The commenter from last week. Damn, I wonder how Jim will weigh in on this one. Yeah. Do you think there are people that do that? Where they're like... Something happens and they're like, can't wait for Joe Rogan to talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Because I get that with like, the nerdy stuff that are like hyper focused on like a genre of game or something, or like something in the film industry or something that's interesting to me and my hyperfixation. Like, I'll have that thought where it's like, oh, I can't wait to hear Thingy's take on this thing in this niche world that I can.
Well, yeah, the classic is album comes out. Am I allowed to like it? Best way for the Fantano review.
Let's end this segment then with this one from the real Detenshi. You should put me in your next JARCast, but like, just put me in as a random voice you talk to sometimes. Don't explain it and don't like acknowledge it in any way. Just have me appear sometimes, and nobody knows what's going on. I think that would be a really funny joke. It would make your audience laugh and so funny. Yell yippee as they squirm out of their chairs and into the TV screen to watch more Jar Media on this fine day today. No grammar in any of that. Like, I had to figure out where to take breaths. So that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for the suggestion, man.
Yeah.
You got it, dude.
I can't work out what
the intent.
Yeah.
Is it sarcasm?
Is it like fan fiction? You know? You're like writing yourself into the...
I have this triggered a really, really old memory of back when I was in the flat. I remember a JAR listener emailing being like, can I do work experience at the JAR thing? I had to be like, I run this out of my flat. That would be kind of inappropriate. Weird,
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, okay. It was like a whole pitch and everything. I was like, this is funny, but this
work experience.
That'd be awesome.
Work, like, I experienced eating Dominoes.
Yeah. We talked about poo.
Yeah.
On a podcast.
And drank 440ml Thatcher's Blackberry.
Yeah. I wasn't even drinking at that time.
Yeah, I'd have like 2 half cans and be dribbling.
Now, bro, I feel a little bit bad for not bringing this up last week because the reveal actually happened back then. You remember Jar Media shitposts, right? AKA this project is retired. Old school Jarling ran this cool like fan jar page with some clips. Legendary. It has like these different animations on there. It's like a cool fan project thing. They disappeared. Or so we thought. Turned out, yeah, like a week ago, the Jar Media Clips channel that's been going for a long time and recently has like clipped out so many of the good clips. And they've done such a thorough job. They're like running out of like, and they know this stuff better than us. So like, they need help clearly if they need more stuff. But just randomly on like, I'll include the screenshot on the screen right now for those listening. Sorry, for those watching. Yeah,
for those watching.
I'm getting confused. Yeah, they just revealed like, yep, that I was them the whole time. I was Jar Media shitposts, and I'm actually this clips like channel too.
A proxy.
They've been like, yeah, they've been holding this off, this reveal.
Yeah,
it's like cool. Just for your, no one asked you to do that. It was like just for your own satisfaction. You kept this little secret.
Just legendary behavior.
Yeah, just dropping it right then and there. So shout out. Go check out the clips channel. Right, bro. We got a couple options here. I actually want to start with the industry jarling can get us going on this topic. Seeing how the portal between Dublin and New York failed, which two places would the Jar Boys connect up? So for those who somehow don't know, I don't know whose like idea this was, because there are quite a few flaws in the concept of this, you know?
Yeah.
They basically built like, it's kind of like Skype, but there's like a screen that's just streaming, I guess, somewhere in New York, and the other one is somewhere in Dublin. And yeah, it's like a portal, I guess is the idea. So you can have a little glimpse into what's happening in another part of the world.
Yeah, it's like just in a street, right?
Yeah. So of course, immediately women are like lifting their tops up, flashing, people in Dublin holding up like clips of 9/11 to the New Yorkers. So it's already been like shut down, I guess. It's just like what
Dublin won that battle.
Yeah.
God damn.
So what do you think? First off, what were you thinking? Secondly, I'm sure there's some explanation for it, but why those two places? I want to see two places that got way more like beef with each other, you know? Some deep conflict.
No.
Get one in China, one in America. I just want to, you know.
Dude, you could do so much worse than that.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's these portals is what we need to bring us together.
There's no two places you could do.
No, you could do a portal on the same side of town. Of one town.
You could do just the like
street.
the circle, and it's just glass.
Yeah.
You know, like when you have those dogs on either side of the glass, and then they see each other in person, they're fine.
Yeah.
And then they go on the other side of the glass, and they're like,
yeah.
Like it's that thing. Like you can't. But if
you're just asking for it,
if people have anything between like real conflict and
any way to abstract them from like responsibility,
from the real conflict, then they're just going to be assholes.
Yeah, of course. And it's like there's no barrier. It's just like in the street. It's not like in a museum that you got to like pay to get in. Or, it's just there.
Yeah.
What an awful fucking idea.
I mean, like it's cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's theoretically cool.
But they could have done it way cooler.
Yeah.
Or way more like controlled. They of course.
Yeah.
You just wasted a bunch of money, really, I guess. Nice one.
I mean, it can't have cost that much, surely. Because, like you said, it's like a stream.
It's just Skype.
I'm sure they pumped a ridiculous amount of money into it.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be just the next.
Wonder what the delay is, too.
Yeah.
Because some streamers have it like set up so they're purposefully like a few minutes ahead. So if they say something bad, they have enough time to like do something about it. I don't know if that's built into it. Probably not. Probably not.
Well, what's the point when it's just people, you know?
Where would you put a portal? East side and west side?
I do a portal like just have one in some guy's bathroom and Times Square, you know, still New York, but like just some guy's bathroom anywhere in the world.
Just some guy's bathroom where you put into like a raffle, like you put your name into a hat and it's like
no, it's more like this guy just wakes up and it's there, you know, and he can't get rid of it.
Maybe if that was like one of the just social norms is like you're put into a raffle and like to be part of the country, there's just a chance like jury duty you're going to be pulled up and be put on the screen.
Your entertainment for
you're going to be Truman for a day.
Yeah.
Okay, I can get down with that. What I can't get down with is the hunt for Gollum.
Gollum?
You heard about this, bro?
Gollum?
Gollum.
Like,
you know,
Dingle Gollum.
I'm Mr. Gollum, look at me, remember?
Like double Gollum.
Golem. The hunt for Golem.
Is Golem spelt Gollum?
No, Golem, right? Golem. Gollum is Llum.
Gollum!
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, are you hyped that he's coming back?
Who's back?
The Gollum movie, bro. It's happening.
What?
I'm serious.
No.
I'm serious. The Gollum movie's happening. I'm telling you.
Really?
I'm serious.
What, based on the game?
Well, what happened was the game came out and everyone loved it so much.
Yeah.
They thought,
there's so much Gollum hype at the moment.
There's so much Gollum hype. I'm serious. Andy Serkis directing, Peter Jackson producing. What's her name? Fran Walsh, I think, writing. Is that her name?
I don't know.
You know,
Why?
Peter Jackson's wife. Money.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a shame.
How much does that suck? 2 confirmed Lord of the Rings like continuation movie things. The first one has been confirmed to be this Gollum movie. It's called The Hunt for Gollum.
What?
There's no like story written at this point. It's just been announced. Because I guess the billions they made on the IP isn't enough. They got to keep milking the IP. They own it. They got to use it, right? They got to milk Gollum for all he's worth.
Yeah, Gollum's getting milked, man.
It's so pathetic.
This character exists within a story for a purpose.
Yeah,
You know?
He's supposed to be the worst case scenario for the main character.
Yeah.
That's what makes his place in the story so powerful and so
so
effective.
When you stick him by himself, when he's the main, like
what's the conflict? What's the story?
Yeah, what can you do with that? And like the best thing you can do with it is worse than if you took those same ideas and made your own thing.
Yeah. And like they were already pushing it with like the way they approached The Hobbit, right?
Yeah.
And the best part from those movies was the Gollum scene. And everyone was they had the excuse though, it's like written.
Yeah.
It's like word for word in the book.
Well, yeah, like it has to be.
We hadn't seen that. Yeah, you have to have that scene. It didn't feel like, oh, we're whipping Gollum up again, because it was more like, thank God there's this famous Gollum scene we can adapt, and we've got the visual effects now, and we've got Andy Serkis, and it kind of works out that way. Whereas this, it's like, it's insulting that, I guess, the impetus of the story and the storytelling and like wanting to tell a story is so unimportant, and the only thing that matters is brand recognition, is characters that are already cemented, is taking risk out because it's pop culture thing, you know. This is our baby Yoda, I guess. We got to do the Gollum movie because he's probably the most recognizable like image or catchphrase dispenser from that franchise. They don't really have any like cute things or like a Yoda or whatever that they can put on t-shirts. Gollum's probably the closest they've got. And yeah, everyone loves that performance so much, and Andy Serkis, I mean, him directing it is not good either. I've seen, I guess, 2 of his movies. The first was Mowgli. That was horrendous. I think it was like a Netflix fully animated Jungle Book thing, which came out very close to the Jon Favreau one. So it was just, it came out after, so it was just, dead. And they used like the mocap stuff and like tried to put it on the animals, and it was just really creepy looking and wrong. And then recently he directed Venom 2. So, yeah.
That's Andy Serkis?
Yes.
Okay. Has he directed anything else?
He was like second unit director on like some of The Hobbit, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if he's done any big features.
He was Kino Loy.
He was Kino Loy, and that was Kino.
Yeah.
That was awesome. But
yeah.
Not
I
this.
think my favourite part of that show was Kino Loy.
Really? More than the heist?
Yeah.
For real? Wow.
The way it ended, I was like...
Mm-hmm. Everyone watch Andor, yeah. The hunt for desperately squeezing the flannel to get every last drop of money from an IP.
Yeah. When will they learn?
They won't, because it'll probably make loads of money.
Fan. When will they learn?
Yeah.
When will they learn?
Your actions have consequences. But that's the thing, though, is that their actions never have consequences. Well, the consequences, we made the 3 Hobbit movies and they made loads and loads of money. Loads of money.
But like it's not enough, is it?
Yeah.
They've got to keep doing it until they like they've already done the Amazon,
which is apparently getting another season this year.
Huh?
Yeah. It's their most watched show ever.
What?
Yeah. Even more than Fallout, which was number 2 now. I don't know why.
Who?
I think the brand is that powerful. It's like
who the
WB sees it and they're like,
that?
this is our Star Wars type thing. I watched it, but I mean, that's not that surprising.
Yeah, but like other than you, I've never heard or seen any discourse.
I would like to see the stats after the first episode. Like what the drop off is.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of people tuned in that first week thinking, oh, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
But you figure out pretty quick that there ain't. God, what a nothing show. And then the trailer for the new one looks pretty similar too. It's just so uninteresting. So just like, you have to have a story first. It's just pointless otherwise. You're just playing in this like reference playground. It's so tired, so boring. Ugh, just get over it. Jesus Christ, let it die. Please. It's ironic because like Gollum is this like creature that isn't allowed to die.
Yeah.
You know, it's like part of the curse.
Yeah.
You're not letting it.
Yeah, his lust for this this thing.
Yeah,
like,
this valuable
keeps him alive. Like no matter what happens. Yeah.
So incredibly insulting to Tolkien as well. I feel like it's like you're not even adapting anything at this point. You're just like making up fan fiction so you can make movies.
Yeah. At least give us another like Mordor game.
Yeah, make games, or you know what? Maybe even Peter Jackson's talked many a times that there's still stuff they shot for Lord of the Rings that could be implemented into the movies. An extended edition.
Yeah, dude.
I'd be down with that, even if it's like
every Lord of the Rings fan would jump at that shit.
And I wouldn't. I know this might be like blasphemy, but there are even some things where I'd be like, you could probably do this shot better now. You know the cave troll in the first movie.
Yeah. Do you think that's like with video games? We get a lot of remasters. Do you think that's gonna be a thing for movies ever?
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet with like Toy Story 1, with
a
lot of animated movies like that with that early CG. You could do it with the Incredibles, I feel like.
Yeah.
Not that it looks bad by any means, but if it looked as polished as the second movie, bad the story of the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then there's also the whole argument of like, you don't want to hide the old one. You don't want a George Lucas and make it so it's not available anymore. Like, how are you going to approach that?
Yeah.
It gets complicated, but it's also like, people would want to see that. People would pay for that. They want more.
I want to see Bug's Life redone. That's what I want.
Bug's Life, yeah.
Yeah.
So everything's a bit less like smooth.
Yeah.
See some textures on things.
Give them that like 3D detailed Mario vibe.
Yeah, you want to see like every paw on
on the ants.
On flicks.
Yeah.
Ants have paws. The insect jowling needs to write in, I guess.
Yeah, they've got like exoskeletons.
There's like a bird in that movie that's like really scary looking because of that era of CG.
Yeah, I want to see Bug's Life, but like they look like real bugs.
Oh, 2019 Lion King it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want live action A Bug's Life.
That's not even that absurd.
It's
as far as like something that might happen.
Foreseeable future.
Yeah. So I want to end this segment by shouting out, unless you have anything you really want to bring up too. I finished reading Invincible. I've read the whole thing now. Yeah, all 3 compendiums. Yeah.
Out of 10?
So now I'm in that like slump where after you like finish a good series, a good book, anything like that.
What do I do with myself?
It's like, I was like enjoyed just having these characters like to return to while doing other really solid all the way through. The fact that the show has covered like the least interesting part is really exciting and hype. If they're able to do it, it's going to be so good. If they're actually able to keep it going and pull it off. So much happens, so many good characters, and like stuff that is in season 1 and 2 of the show where like in the show you're like what is this about? Like, why are you doing this? Like 100 issues later you get like a payoff for something that they randomly did, and it's like, that is brilliant. Like, that is actually so clever. Like, I won't spoil anything, so don't worry. But like characters that like you're not really that, I mean the show does it too, like characters you're not really that invested in or not. They just read like a parody or something forgettable. But suddenly they get all this development or some concept gets thrown in. The whole like what they do with Robot is like so awesome. And whatever the Beast girl or whatever her name is, I'm bad with names. There's all that, and it like delving into we often joke about the like if I had Superman's powers and like all the weird, like they basically explore all of that to its like natural conclusion. It's like, oh, this is so awesome, like the way you keep taking this the way you're developing this. So many good characters, so many like shocking moments, or and the momentum just keeps like building. I don't know if there's anything, without like going into any specific details. I did enjoy the like kind of middle section the most, the kind of second compendium, I guess, chunk of story where it feels like, oh, you're really fleshing this out. Like in the show where they keep doing the now to tell you where you really come from. They like keep doing that at like certain points through the story, and each time it's like updating you and reframing like the context, and it's like, damn, this is just such a cool structure. And I know you didn't have all of this planned. You would have had like outlines, but the way you've managed to bring this all together, super cool.
Yeah, that sounds super impressive.
Yeah, I like the art a lot. Some really memorable like panels, some good jokes. I was like laughing out loud at certain points, like the timing and phrasing of things. My biggest quibble was honestly with some of the like dialogue. Some like awkward, like you've only got so many panels to communicate this amount of information or like a concept or something, so someone would just drop some like clunkily written like exposition-y type line like out of nowhere. But it's so heavy on like the satirical like parody self-awareness that it's like it's hard to even pass at points. Like what is like a jab, what's a genuine attempt at this or that. A couple of nitpicks here or there, but for the most part, it was very consistent. And the last thing I'll say is, there's this thing with comic. I haven't read many, like in full. But every now and again, you'll get an issue where the artist is different. And when that happens, it's like the worst. It's really distracting. It's almost like, I guess, swapping director or something. Or
it's like when Batman the Animated Series, every episode is like done by a different studio. There are good studios and bad studios.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And Avatar, I think, the Last Airbender.
That's right. Yeah. Like that was like a drama when it came to the Legend of Korra, and like a different studios doing parts of it, and the animation's notably worse. It's like it's a similar thing. It's not even necessarily that art is worse. It's like you're used to characters looking a certain way, feeling a certain way, and then when they're drawn differently, it's like, this is really distracting in a way I didn't anticipate. It's not like a big issue. It's just like every now and again, considering the comic must have been going for like a decade with the same artist for a very significant chunk of it. The odd month off, I feel it's probably fair.
How dare they?
Yeah, considering that. I just hope they're able to translate the whole thing.
Yeah,
once you get all these
Amazon
Viltrumite characters in and whatnot, it's just like, I just like it when a writer, like, they set something up and they just keep taking concepts to their logical extremes. And it's like, you have the thought of like, well, why won't they just do this thing? And then like you turn the page and then they're literally just doing that thing. It's like, oh, this is so satisfying that like it doesn't feel like you're just stretching this out. It feels like you actually have places you want to take it and things you want to do with the characters. And
like they're exploring the idea themselves.
And Mark is just like a really cool protagonist that he has that Spider-Man thing where it's like they just keep pushing him down. But like the stuff he goes through is like horrible, like really nasty by the end. But it's like you're there with him for the whole thing, and like it's awesome. I'd recommend reading it. If not, you're gonna be waiting a long ass time. Because if those 2 seasons were one compendium, let's go, 6 seasons, potentially. So yeah, check it out. I'd recommend giving that a read. Enjoyed that very much so. And just have like one story too. One of the most off-putting things about like comics and all that is like, which run is it? Who's writing what? Who's like? It's quite intimidating. Just knowing there's like 150 odd issues, that's the story, pretty much.
I've always wanted to like read the best of like Spider-Man comics, and
I've done that for
the
Batman.
Best of Batman.
Yeah, I've read like The Killing Joke and
I've read The Killing
Long
Joke,
Halloween and stuff like that.
But I feel like that's in a true Batman fan's like opinion, The Killing Joke wouldn't be in there, I don't think. But like, where do you even find out where to start? Where to stop?
And like the context of why something like The Killing Joke hit the way it did.
And
it did, and The Dark Knight Returns. There's lots of like context I feel like you miss, but I've read The Dark Knight Returns too, and a long time ago when I was like a teenager, but that's the way I used to do it. And I read 100 issues of The Walking Dead as well, Kirkman's other book, but that was too much for me. Invincible, like, it maintains and explores everything you want and then wraps up, whereas The Walking Dead like kind of has interesting sections or like arcs, but it gets to like points where it's like, I don't really, this is so dour, I like can't even, I don't even want to get attached to anyone, because what's the point?
Is it over now?
Yeah, the comic ended ages ago, the Walking Dead comic. Okay. And then milking that like show and universe for all it's worth. But
yeah.
Be back after these messages.
Jar Media shirts now, or I'm gonna hurt you. Description below. Welcome to the second bit where we go over to Reddit and answer some questions from you Pliskins.
Nice. Getting into freestyling, are we?
Yeah, just dabbling.
Well, yeah, head over to the Jar Media subreddit suggestion thread and ask us any question you feel like for future episodes, just like Grey Tickles did. If you had to kill each other, what would be your witty remark before you did it?
If we had to kill each other?
Yeah, so like, say like, whatever. Just picture it, you know, like on my knees, the fight is lost. You got the gun to the head. What do you say before you pull the trigger and it cuts to black?
I guess you are a stupid idiot.
What would be the worst thing you could say? BBL Drizzy.
Loser.
Yeah, poo-poo head alert. Well, maybe that'd be good. It's just like so... That's the last thing you hear.
Yeah, that's big disrespect.
You go down, you whisper, who's the poo-poo head in the end then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
what about GG?
GG
Yeah.
07. No Haj replied to that saying, Alex, time, we've all got time, or at least you did. Gunshot to the head. Jamie, I'm feeling riled up. Goes beast mode and thumbs his victim's eyes out. James, I'm James, I always come back. Recreates the villain death from Fast and Furious 4. Then the original question asker replied to that saying, lol, I love Alex's one. I imagine the victim begging James for sympathy or trying to change his mind like, please, please, why me? James, Cock's gun. Reasons.
Yeah, that's a fire one.
That's kind of the best one.
Yeah.
It's like, 'cause it's like, so like, you're getting no answer. But it's like,
Yeah, there is a reason, but
I'm not telling you.
there's multiple reasons.
Yeah. Oh, a real bad one would just be to go,
Yeah.
something really messed up like that.
Yeah, shrug.
Who cares? I'm bored.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Piracy, Sex and Arson says, SpongeBob daughter or Patrick son?
Patrick son.
I'm taking the Sponge daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? I feel like Sponge daughter has more of a chance to integrate than Patrick son.
No, because I think Patrick son could easily become like a stockbroker or something. Because Patrick,
why though? But he's such a dumbass. Like
he's
by
confident.
accident.
You don't need any IQ to be a stockbroker. You just need to walk in and be like,
Just take wild gambles, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, and be
It's
like,
that guy that predicted Christian Bale played him in that The Big Short or whatever.
Mhm.
He's the guy that like makes the big prediction on the housing market. That guy in real life, like after that prediction, they've all been like garbage predictions, but like no one cares because
he got that
his
one.
opinion is still valid because of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with SpongeBob daughter,
I'm gonna go with Patrick son.
Patrick's son.
Yeah.
I feel like he's more the kind of. I just feel like he'd be more of a drain.
Then SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, what? He's an active member of his community. He's got a job that he can hold. He can't get his driving license, but what, can Patrick drive? Don't think so.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can. There's that episode where he just decides to do it and he gets it easy.
That's a funny idea for an episode, but I don't remember that.
Yeah,
So he has
it
a
happened.
license before Bob.
Yeah. And then the joke is that he's driving SpongeBob somewhere and SpongeBob is like looking for problems and Patrick in a 40 is going 40 and a half miles per hour. So then SpongeBob like calls the police on him.
Oh man, you got a good SpongeBob memory of it. I've got no memory
Dude,
of that
SpongeBob
episode.
is my shit.
Mm.
It formed me.
I remember certain episodes really well, you know, like Dirty Dan and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Classics.
Yeah.
But that one is evading my memory banks. Rip Flute says, you guys can have this week off. You've earned it.
Oh.
Thanks.
Whew. You know, I was thinking of Pinhead Patrick as a tattoo It'd be kind of but apparently that's like a millennial thing, to get cartoons as a tattoo.
That's a millennial thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm finding out more and more what are supposedly millennial things.
Yeah.
What was it? Saying lol is apparently a real millennial thing, but I've had like a whole arc with lol. Because like, being a millennial, everyone's saying lol all the time and texting lol, but I had this whole like, I'm not going to use lol thing.
I'm above
when it was at its peak.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was when it started dying, when I was like, you know what, now it's time to lol.
Yeah.
Now and it hasn't left me since then. I'll still say like that's lol or whatever.
Yeah.
Which maybe that dates me as a millennial, but like it's better than saying that's a W or whatever.
I'm technically not a millennial.
Yeah, what are you?
Yeah, what am I? That's life's question. You know?
97. What does that make you? Gen X?
Gen Q?
An Xer? You're an apex predator is what you are.
I'm a Patrick son.
Well, that makes me a sponge daughter, if I ever do say so myself. No working 2211 says Bear Mighties. A couple of episodes ago, Jim brought up how nihilism is a bad way to view the world, since it leads to becoming socio and apathetic to the world. I personally disagree with this idea. Simply acknowledging that we live in a world with no meaning isn't bad on its own. Life is like a blank canvas. It has no inherent value. You have to give it yourself by painting your own path. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I think that's not what we were saying.
Yes, I read all the comments after that episode, and I think that was the episode we did before pre-recording the following episode, so we never replied to any of the stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Because we talked about guns and stuff like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the philosophy stuff, I think I definitely didn't get my points across clearly enough.
It's hard to when you're talking about big things like this, and there's like multiple sects of nihilism. And
people were really upset by your comment on philosophy being mental masturbation.
No, I was more talking about the idea of like having the luxury to sit down and just talk.
But people were like discounting philosophy like this. You realise the world is built on philosophy. It's like we love
philosophy.
We spent like half an hour talking about philosophy. We don't hate philosophy.
Of course not. No, that's not what was meant by that comment.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just brushing into that stuff.
Yeah.
You just tweaked the memory. But
yeah.
To break that stuff down, shut up, you're dumb.
But
I think my knee jerk is to be like, you just don't get me, dude. But clearly, if like you took away things from what I said, like I didn't explain myself well enough,
right?
You know.
And obviously, when you say something like nihilism, there are some people that have an idea of what that means. So when you say it, they have that idea, but you might be talking about something else. Mm-hmm. So then you're like kind of talking past each other. Yeah, this is part of what I loved so much about, and what I think a lot of people, and why it's so popular with the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it's about this exact thing, where it's about someone who's reached the conclusion that there is no point to any of this, and it is a nihilistic, like overbearing worldview this character has, and they basically learn what this writing said about how it's not necessarily like an oppressive force that has to ruin your life. It can actually be the inverse, but it's more what you do with that, you know?
Yeah, and that was kind of my point when bringing it up, because it was brought up in the context of free will. Mm-hmm. And my point was like, you can either respond to that in a few ways, one of which being nothing that you do is in your control, therefore it's pointless, therefore like why bother?
Why try
and be good? Because like I'm just gonna be what I am. But
I feel like that's the like bad way to
and it's pointless, because to to come to that conclusion is only because you've been like given the stimulus of acknowledging free will. You know, so then you're playing into it and losing to it, because in that decision you're choosing to do the shittest thing you possibly can.
Yeah. And you don't want to be like the Big Lebowski nihilists. It's not fair.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they're mocking, because like the dude, he's like an aimless. He doesn't really have goals. He's just living his life.
Doing as little as possible.
Doing as little as possible. He's like finds meaning or purpose in it somewhere. That whole discussion with Sam Elliott character at the end, like, kind of drives that home too. I don't know. There's a lot going on with this. I just feel like that version of nihilism is what we're talking about. The kind of like, there's no point to anything, so you should never try or do anything. I guess that's what we were talking about.
And for some people it can be freeing, and for other people it's debilitating. So, and it's not to say either is right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
There are plenty of valid ways to live your life or interpret the world. I don't need you to agree with the way I see it. In fact, I'd like it if you see things a different way, because it makes things more interesting. But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Let's do this one. From HM Poe. Bear boys. Sorry this may be a bit of a long comment. I just have a few things to say. First, regarding the family drama. Goddamn nationalism is a hell of a drug. Here in the States, we have rivalries between states. For example, my home state of Ohio has a huge rivalry with Michigan. But damn, you Brits take it to the next level. I don't think anyone here in the States would vitriolically hate someone just from being from a rival state. Well, except maybe Texans and Californians. Second, regarding Alex's scaly revelation, I'd like to propose your scale Sona to be a dinosaur. But not just any dinosaur. I had to find the weirdest, most bizarre dinosaur I could find and came up with this. The Incisivosaurus. Oh god, I'm sorry. I'll put an image of it here, but it's such a dumb-looking dinosaur that I felt it would perfectly fit Alex's personality. Yes, I know dinosaurs aren't reptiles, so it's more feathery territory than scaly, but I thought it would fit best. So I'm going to show Jim a picture of this guy and see what you think. Let me try that again. You try saying it. I can't say that. I said I'm awful at Latin. How do you say that? These are the egg eaters, right? They've got that egg eating beak.
Incisivosaurus. Is that? Am I reading it? Incisivosaurus.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But these look like the egg eater guys. It kind of looks like it's doing
Does he have a beak with teeth?
I tell you if this ad like didn't just cover it. And, let's try that again.
Asshole.
Oh, it's got like on this image,
teeth.
like it's got like buck teeth. I'll take it, man. And like the slick back hair. He's kind of doing like he's doing like a pose, like it makes me think of like 2012 Facebook.
He looks like Iron Man landing.
Yeah. So thanks. Early Cretaceous period of what is now People's Republic of China.
There you go.
There you go. I'm pretty Asian.
China.
Oh my god. Got 3 more here. Past Confusion 3234. Hello, Jar Boys. What music/albums have you been listening to lately? As well as some favorite albums. I know you've discussed music in the past, but I don't think it has been talked about as much lately compared to video games and films, which you also get a good idea of Letterboxd, what you've seen, which the main alternative for music is RYM. So I'll be interested to hear what your listening intake has been the last few months since the last discussion. Keep up the podcast, boys, and beer. What's been on your rotation? I
Uh,
gotta look up my Spotify and see.
yeah, that's what I just pulled up.
I'm gonna embarrass myself with.
I've been listening to a lot of diss tracks.
Yeah, I've been listening to Meet the Grahams.
Really, that one?
That's the one I like.
Scary
That's
one.
the scary one. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I was
It's
saying about
frightening.
atmosphere and
Yeah.
yeah. I like strong emotions like that.
Yeah. I mean, beyond that, I've been listening to Kendrick. It's put me on like a hype
Oh, really?
train.
You got with any album in particular?
Damn.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the one I just
It's-
never connected with. Yeah.
I've come back to it with I was telling you a little while ago, like maybe March time. Like I gave it another go recently, and I was like, okay, sheesh. He popped off on it.
Yeah, I think for me, I just kept
It's-
comparing it so heavily to Butterfly.
Yeah, it's
and
not
it's
as
that- it's-
like succinct.
It doesn't feel as like as deep as that. It's more like kind of poppy, I guess.
Yeah, it's more poppy, but if it's very personal as well, but also it feels more of that time, like it's what he was
Yeah.
feeling in that time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's just got some like straight up bangers, a lot of straight up bangers.
Okay. So we're coming around on the Damn.
I've even come around on Loyalty. Yeah, I was a hater of that song for a long time.
What about the sipping bubbly, feeling lovely one?
I don't like that bit of that song, but
I can get past a bit if there's a payoff. Past the bit.
yeah. And all the following songs are also bangers. I mean, I've listened through Mr. Morale a couple times as well since all this nonsense. And I keep seeing the rhetoric that, like, people are now, like, the argument is like, oh, everyone thought that album was shit. Everyone thought that album
Morale.
sucked until this, like, until Kendrick blew up lately.
I guess it didn't have like a big,
It didn't
like
have
humble or.
No, it didn't have like a TikTok presence very much. Like the odd song appeared every now and again on social media, but
That's interesting because for me, that's like the inverse of Damn, where it's like Morale was more like what I'm looking for.
yeah, big like Mr. Morale is way better than Damn.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, it's no question in my mind. Yeah.
And yeah, it's an incredible album. Also, last one I'll drop for more of the vibey chill times is Such Sweet Thunder by Duke Ellington.
I've added that, but I haven't listened to it yet. You've been listening to a fair amount of jazz lately, huh?
Yeah. There's a particular track, the Love one,
Yeah, I really need to get into that because I was big into Miles Davis.
Star-Crossed Lovers, because it's all based on like Shakespeare,
Mhm.
the whole album, and the Star-Crossed Lovers track is the most like melancholy walking in the rain, and we've had a lot of rain recently.
Atmosphere.
Type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
What made you jump into Duke? Big Mouth?
I mean, he was there for a reason. Like
True.
he was going crazy back when he was doing his thing.
Extremely prolific, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of what's intimidating to me. It's like, where do I even begin?
The thing is with a lot of these artists, you go on Spotify, their albums are all like released in 2005, released in 2006.
Right.
And it's all this remastered, jumbled together, like, I guess music just wasn't released in the same way. I don't think Duke Ellington is the best example of this.
You're making me think of like David Bowie with all his posthumous releases on his Spotify. It's like 10 albums since he's died or something. Well, not albums, but releases of some
songs.
Kind. Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a few artists where it's like I want to see like 1950 something when you look at the album and it says the date. Yeah, I want to see. I want to hear like something. But
you want the remastered version with the better audio quality though, from like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean but when the artist, like, their first release thing is in like 1970 something, and then the following one is like 2005.
Right.
They definitely released music between those periods because they're like a prolific name. Where is that music? You know, I need to know what's an album and like what's a best of thing, because like the thing with Such Sweet Thunder is that you like go through a succinct, you know, like it's an album. It's an instrumental album.
Right. Yeah.
I basically only listen to albums. I don't want to hear some jumbled like mix of various songs. It's not what I'm looking for, you know.
I get that. Whereas I quite like the eclectic thing sometimes. I often use the on repeat playlist on Spotify as well, for stuff I just always have in my rotation. Like I'm just a huge 9 Inch Nails guy, so the Challenges score I've been listening to a lot. More kind of like dance heavy sounding than what I'm used to from them, but there's some awesome songs on that score. I think it's their best one in a while. Otherwise, I've listened to the New Order still. That Tutti Frutti album, the Complete Music it's called, with all these extended mixes of those songs I hadn't heard in the same way before, so I've been enjoying that. This band Justice released a couple songs with Tame Impala recently. This one, Never Ender, I've been listening to a lot. That's kind of my jam. I have quite eclectic tastes, I guess. In Rainbows is pretty much always in the rotation.
Yeah. I'll shout out Kid A quick as well while you're talking about Radiohead.
Yeah, I don't listen to that one as much as in Rainbows, but
specifically the song How to Disappear Completely. Good ass song.
This album called Tres Flores by Woody Jackson, who did the music for Red Dead. He released this in 2020. Just this quiet 43-minute instrumental thing that kind of has the palette of sounds from like a Red Dead type thing, but there's no association to anything in those games. So he's got a couple albums like that I've been kind of using as background noise that are quite nice. Weirdly, I randomly got into Fatboy Slim.
Yeah, big time.
You've Come a Long Way, Baby, that album from 98. The whole thing's like really good. The whole album's awesome. There's not a song in there I don't like. I guess some could go on a little bit, but it's just the type of music he makes, you know what I'm saying? That Fat Boy. Anything else to throw out there? I don't think I've mentioned it really on the cast, but this year anyway, and the tail end of last year, like the Low Raw stuff, especially that live album.
Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned that. Live at the Gambio?
Yeah.
Blah?
His live version of Breathe. Incredible, yeah.
Yeah, his voice live is something to behold.
The deluxe edition of Stop Making Sense as well. That's kind of always in the rotation too. Yeah, I don't know if there's... I've been off the album game, kind of, as you were just saying. That's the only way you like listening.
Yeah.
Whereas I do that sometimes, but not too much lately, you know.
I suppose before we move on, because I haven't said, I've been listening to, not so much lately, but the past few months, Flower Boy by Tyler.
That's right, yeah.
Creator.
You kind of come around or something.
Which,
you didn't like it.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. Like, I recognised it had a bunch of good songs on it, but I wasn't... When I first listened to it, it was almost like an obligatory listen through to find the songs I like and then stop. It wasn't like an active, let's go on the journey of this album and follow the story. And now that I have, way more respect for that album.
Like as a package, as a narrative, as a...
Yeah. Whereas one of the songs, Garden Shed, that when I first heard it, like I really didn't like, because I was only listening to it like
out of obligation.
Sonically.
Right.
I wasn't listening to lyrics and like, again, the story of it. And then when you add that context, it totally transforms of what it is.
Yeah, I've found a similar thing with like a lot of rap where maybe I'm not connecting with it, but then I read the lyrics and it just completely changes things. It's like that's where so much of the depth is, so much of the artistry and like what it's saying.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's true for any song. If you just listen to it at face value, if it's a well-written song, you're missing a bunch.
I think it's like the intent of what the music's going for in my mind, where it's like, if it's very clearly, obviously trying to be like a dance thing or a breezy pop thing, I don't need the lyrics necessarily. But I agree. Bad lyrics will put me off a song quicker than nearly anything, like obnoxious lyrics, repetitive lyrics, or just like there's just such a whole space there with
feeling
like
lovely.
yeah
Living
that's
lovely.
what bugs me the most, like when if I'm in McDonald's and I hear whatever the latest pop thing is, it's
Monday,
like,
Tuesday through Wednesday,
the days of the week
Thursday.
song, whatever the newest one is. There's just so much space for like cleverness within the words, within wordplay, within rhyme schemes, within hooks. There's like so much you can do with that. Ignoring it seems like a waste as well, because it is like such a prime space to tell stories too as well, and communicate it in a way that's not as like it doesn't feel like you're sitting down and watching a movie. It doesn't feel like you're stopping everything to absorb like a story. It's like it's such a unique form of storytelling in music specifically. You don't even need lyrics necessarily to communicate some like emotion or change or something like this.
Yeah. I find it particularly infuriating when someone really talented like chooses to say nothing.
You know they're better. Yeah.
You know, it's like...
It's kind of that, speaking of Drake, that Drake problem where when you're just kind of releasing stuff so regularly and there's like almost like a planned cadence to it where it feels like, you know, when morale drops, it's like a big deal. Like every word you're like combing over. Whereas in just whatever the latest Drake album is, what's there to really comb through?
Yeah, there's nothing
quite surface
to
level,
digest.
like. Yeah.
It's all carbs.
I'm fine with some carby music though. I've been listening to a little bit more pop lately, to be honest. That song was everywhere. That the Espresso song. I've been listening to that guy. Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know who she is or if people like her or what, but the song's pretty catchy. I'll give it that. Dope Lemon I've been listening to. Funny name, but has some like cool chill sounding. Yeah, I like the song Home Soon. My final shout out, a weird one. When I was down in Wales, went to an Indian restaurant. They were playing this song over the speaker. I was like, this is kind of awesome. So I SoundClouded it or whatever. And it's a song called Mangalam. It's like a 5 minute, just like kind of. I just keep saying about atmosphere, but it's like it's just like this kind of shit for like 6 minutes. You know, it's just chill, man. I was like, I really like this. I'm gonna add this. You know, I've been listening to it. I'm digging it. So yeah, shout out to
yeah, sounds glonky.
It is quite glonky. But sometimes I'm after that glonk.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Now, unless you have any other albums to shout out, bro, I got the penultimate one for you here.
Penalty.
From Warm Opportunities 623. Sorry in advance for the weird question. However, in the past year, I, like Alex, has travelled to several different countries. There's one thing I realised by doing this, which is a strange observation, but that is the cultural differences in men shaving, with places like the south of Spain having a lot of men with shaved legs. This reminds me of the time when Alex on the IHE channel had a sponsor for Manscaped, which leads me to this. In England, what is the cultural shaving practices, and what do you personally think it should be the places men shave in your guys' personal opinions? I find the different perceptions of what is masculine and what is looked down upon homophobically for being gay or weird in others. I feel like it doesn't matter how you express yourself and who you are, but I've seen a lot of negative perceptions in the past about this topic. Thank you, boys, and keep up the podcasting game on. Kind of an interesting question. I'm probably not the best person to answer this because I don't know what is like a masculine way to shave in the UK.
My really gut reaction is nothing.
But I feel like there's so many.
Shave anything.
I feel like there's so many variables there, right? Like if you're blonde, if you have dark hair, if you've got like Middle Eastern genes, if you've got, I feel there's a lot of variables and a lot of like expectations based on that. Because like I can bare my legs, and on camera you can't. It looks like my legs are hairless, but I'm blonde, so the white hairs you can't even see.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had black hair, you'd probably be able to see all of it or whatever. But I don't think it's like a cultural norm here to shave your legs unless you're like a gym bodybuilder or something, and you like wax all the hair on your self or something. But that's not. I don't think that's like a standard common thing.
No, I think here the most masculine thing would be to shave nothing.
Yeah, if we're going by like stereotypical masculine British lad.
Yeah, I think any sort of like hair grooming that isn't on your head, so your face and hair. I think anything else is like, oh, you're one of them, are you?
Exactly.
I don't know why
I was talking to someone the other day where they were telling me they knew people that growing up, like girls, they shave their arms. Because if they had any visible arm hair, it was considered, I guess, not feminine enough in the inverse. So they'd shave their arms, so then they get stubble on their arms.
There's kind of an association with like body hair and masculinity, and then the inverse being feminine.
In our culture, yeah.
Here. Yeah.
I think if you really want to shave your legs or your arms or whatever, and the thing that's stopping you is thinking that someone might think I'm gay or whatever, or weird, it's not really a very good reason to not do it, is it?
What about the inverse?
If you don't want to shave but you feel pressured because of a cultural thing. I guess as long as you're okay with being seen as these things, if you're fine with being seen as being weird or whatever, that's what you gotta... It doesn't even need to be about shaving, in my opinion. It's just like any kind of cultural norm. If you're actively going against it, there are just going to be people that are inherently going to be weirded out or not like you or have some kind of issue. Or am I speaking out of line?
I mean, it depends on the culture, I guess, and what the activity is. I mean, if I had to like shave my legs and forearms every day, or twice a week, like that would be kind of annoying, you know?
Yeah. And there's just, I don't know, when I like thinking about these things like broadly, you know, when you find out cultures broadly that like don't get like, don't have the sun, don't have hot temperatures. There's something in those cultures where you want to be tanned, you know? There's a desire to be tanned. Then the inverse is completely flipped, where there are people who will stain their skin to be paler because where they live, the beauty standard and what they're looking for to signal to other people in the community is different. And these things change depending on the time period, the culture.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like I'm not that attached to any of them because I feel like, I don't know, if you're born into a culture where some crazy thing is just expected and normal, then I don't know, just kind of making a lot of this shit up, you know? It's like,
yeah. Just do what you're gonna do.
Just
like,
be weird,
on.
Okay?
Just be a freak.
What does Kendrick say?
Weirdos, not the good ones.
Yeah, so be a good weirdo, don't be a bad one.
Yeah.
And finally, Goldfish7740 is going to take us away here. You guys stumble upon a magical being. With its powers, it will let you record one podcast anywhere without being at risk of any harm. The sound and video quality is unaffected by the environment. Example, if you pick space, your audio and video would be as normal, even though space is a vacuum. Where would you boys pick? What real place would you choose? And what fictional place would you choose? Mariana Trench, right at the bottom.
The Marinara Trench.
The Marinara Trench, yeah. The obvious ones, right? Like deep in the ocean, on the moon.
In a black hole, I guess, so then we could know. Then we'd know, like, what happens.
Imagine a podcast recorded from the center of a black hole.
I don't think you can't imagine that because we don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
We would pioneer that. Can you imagine?
That would be a good one, actually, yeah.
It'll be that or the White House.
The White House?
Yeah.
I don't know, that was not as impressive to me because it's like, feasibly, you could rent out a warehouse and like recreate a White House looking set.
No, but like if
you couldn't do that with a black hole.
We just appear in the White House, like in a bubble where nothing can happen to us, and like in the background there's all people running around like, what the fuck? How did these guys get in here? They're talking
so they're like freaking out.
They're talking about Freddy Fazbear. Like, what's going on? Like,
Biden's just
Donald
like
Trump is getting rushed out.
Background.
I'm assuming this is after the election. So,
I was also thinking like in lava,
like
in
yeah,
like in lava,
like center of the earth.
I imagine
not that deep, halfway there.
Imagine like a glass box in lava. Because you have to be able to see. I don't know, like a villain lair from James Bond or something. You know, like lava all over. I don't know. It's just something to do with lava. Okay.
Yeah. First half Marinara Trench, second half lava.
What about like a podcast like on the Great Barrier Reef or something? That'd be fun.
Aesthetically, that would be fire.
Yeah.
But I'd want to choose something that cannot be done.
That couldn't be done, right?
It feasibly could. If like Joe Rogan wanted to, he could.
Because I'm picturing like it's embedded in the environment, so like the mic stands and everything, like they're like, it looks natural.
Yeah, it looks like a coral, like
yeah, which is a NT1A attached on the end.
yeah. And a fictional one.
Yeah. Mount Doom. You have Gollum. Maybe that's the lava answer we need.
Yeah, like right on the edge.
A fictional one.
Yeah. What about like in the Emperor's chair from Star Wars?
With the background of the fight going on or whatever.
Yeah. And a couple of red guys.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be kind of awesome. So I'm thinking like environments, but then I just
Firelink
think...
Shrine.
Oh, that would be a good
That'd be
idea.
sick. Sat on the floor.
Yeah, video games have some good locations actually. Like Minecraft.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, real life.
Seed 5489236. I can't remember how seeds work.
Something like that.
It's got to be about like Smaug's Gold Hoard.
That would be like where to film a diss track.
Oh, you could get some real cool ones in Lord of the Rings actually, like just like castles like in the background. You know that shot where Gandalf like rocks up. I can't remember what's that castle that's like built into the cliff. It's got like this super elaborate design with Theoden.
Gondor?
Yeah, right? Is it Gondor? No.
Gondor calls for aid.
Yeah, you're right.
Or
I'm picturing like the field that's like just far away, so it would be like there in the background.
Are you thinking of where the guy on fire runs off the edge?
Yeah,
Gondor.
Gondor.
That's Gondor, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm thinking Gondor in the background. You're in like a
In
field
the back. Oh, okay, yeah.
with like Gondor just there, and it's real.
What about Helm's Deep while the battle's going on behind you?
You could do the same with Gondor actually.
Yeah,
It's just like a war happening in the background.
yeah.
Well, you could do so many cool ones with that. There's so many good locations.
Yeah. I mean, Hobbiton.
Yeah. Whereas I was thinking that with like Star Wars, and it's like, well, we have deserts. We got jungles.
cool.
Yeah, you get Binary Sun in there.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool, but like that is a real desert. But you could just film one there, really.
Yeah.
You don't need to get silly about it. Yeah, I feel like the
I
obvious
feel like
answers-
Jabba's palace would be kind of fire.
Rancor in the background.
Yeah. Dude's just getting dropped.
Boba Fett hitting on worm hair women.
Yeah.
Worm women.
Dude, they said fiction. It was like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's all
Like,
that's
I
in my
can't
head
think of
right now.
any fiction.
Yeah, like,
other than that.
I know. What about, the
Road.
the final shot of Fight Club, but there's like actually a podcast being recorded.
Hey, Night City. That'd be pretty fire.
A little bit scary though. I feel like it'd be.
Yeah, but if we're in
We're safe in our pods, I guess.
Glass dome.
In our time out of time. Yeah, but what about one that's in the Pickle Rick?
Yeah, Rick and Morty house.
We're inside Pickle Rick.
Yep.
That'll be a good guy.
We're in the foreground of the Pickle Rick rat fight scene. But extended to be the length of the podcast. How far would that be?
I'm starting to see the vision. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a real cool one, right? Like, at the end of BVS, we're like,
Ooh.
like have that in
yeah.
the background,
Yeah, we'd
like
have to be so far away to like cover all of that. We're on the island that's abandoned and there's nobody else there.
Yeah, so then we can go.
Tell me, do you bleed?
4-hour-long fight scene commence. What's that character called? Juggernaut? No. The green
Doomsday.
Shrek. Doomsday, yeah. That's right. This is making me feel like a doomsday, bro. I don't want to be thinking about that.
Yeah, why'd you bring that up?
I want to do a podcast from inside Doomsday's eye from BVS, looking out, so you can see his perspective of what he's seeing.
The fight. Yeah.
Of the fight from the end of BVS. So that's like a full hour anyway. So that's like a whole podcast of like him fighting Batman.
Yeah, easy.
Like,
that's like 2 podcasts.
Yeah. Well, if you want to do the whole of BVS, that's like months worth of podcasts, you know? Oh, man. Well, bro, starts with B, ends with S.
Oh,